They always find a way to make it hurt extra bad, don't they? We have more on the Diamondbacks losing Game 2 to the Dodgers in 11 innings, and we also have news on the breaking information that Jalen Beeks will start in the finale for the Dbacks. All of this in 30 seconds, along with a lot of yelling and probably maybe even a little crying. Don't you go anywhere. Well, ski to you all, and welcome into Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. This is the PHNX Dbacks podcast, and I am your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. Welcome in to you all. Glad to have you guys here to commiserate this loss. I still can't decide if it would have been worse if the Diamondbacks would have just lost in 9 innings by a score of 4-1 or perhaps even 4-3. Or if seeing our guys not give up really does mean something to me, to you, to any of us, and it sure doesn't make this loss feel any less worse. But welcome in to you all, except to Killer X. Killer X, I'm not with your crap tonight. You haven't been showing up when this team has been winning, so I'm not going to hear it from you tonight just because they lost. By the way, what a miserable person to just show up only when they lose, but not to show your face in here when they're winning. Welcome into the rest of you to this show. Of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Bet365 and Game Time. Go make sure to use that code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Get yourself some bonus bets over there at Bet365. At Game Time, make sure to use our code of PHNX. You'll get $20 off all those already low last-minute ticket prices. So welcome in to you guys. Welcome to all of our Supporters Club members. We love you guys. I don't know. I'm not going to say extra, but you guys have the coolest emojis. You are the cool kids on the block. If you want to sign up for that Supporters Club, of course, you can do so right now. We've launched our Supporters Club to help for people to support PHNX directly. It's $5 a month. You can sign up right there on our YouTube channel. You get a badge next to your name in the live chat and comments. You'll also get yourself badges as time goes on, letting people know how long you've been a member, and you get the amazing pack of emojis that includes that cactus light, which we will not use tonight. We will not be using tonight because the Diamondbacks lost this game. They did not win it. They lose by a score of 5-4. Their record drops to 80-78, and the Dbacks are now, unfortunately, 6-6 versus the Los Angeles Dodgers this season, which just shows how incredibly important this game is. Not that it's going to matter in the final standings, but you want to beat your division rivals, right? You want to hold the season record over the Dodgers. More importantly, that season record could come into play if by some miracle the Diamondbacks and Mets find themselves tied at the end of the season. The Diamondbacks had a chance to tie the Mets tonight because the Mets did lose their game. Thank you to the Cubs for finally figuring out how to play baseball. And the Reds also lost their game, which gave the Diamondbacks a chance, should they win this game against the Dodgers, to tie the Mets for that final wild card spot. And since the Diamondbacks currently hold the tiebreaker over the Mets, it really wouldn't be a tie because technically with 4 games left in the season, they would hold that final spot. But that is not the case. Fortunately, both of those teams did lose, so the Diamondbacks don't lose any ground, and that's a silver lining here. Another thing I will say that hopefully makes this loss better is it had to be fairly unrealistic to think that the Diamondbacks were going to be able to sweep the Dodgers, right? So at the very least, you have to appreciate the fight that they put up tonight and be thankful that they did not just, roll over and let this game end without putting up some sort of runs on the board besides just that one early run they scored in the first inning. And again, give this Dodgers team a run for their money late against the bullpen. The Dbacks, though, couldn't get much going offensively against the Dodgers starter Blake Snell, much like in Game 1 against Shohei Ohtani, but they were able to once again put together a late rally against the Dodgers bullpen that ultimately comes up short in extra innings. A big part of that reason why that came up short was in the 10th inning, the Diamondbacks did have their bases loaded, and with 1 out, Jake McCarthy was unable to deliver a competitive hit there, a competitive anything to get the Diamondbacks to. Oh, no. We're not doing Damon, we're not doing this. Rex, you're gone. I'm not doing this with Rex. He doesn't want to be here to do the show. We're not doing this now. I'm not going to have him filling up our chat with crap. So this one, I'm already mad enough about the game. I'm not going to deal with that. But what I will say is overall, this team did put up, once again, a fight against the Dodgers bullpen. That's not very good. And they did manage to tie this game 4-4 and send it into extra innings. But like I said, they're in the 10th inning. Jake McCarthy just not able to give the Diamondbacks anything. And also James McCann, unfortunately, not able to get anything. So that rally felt short. It felt like they had something going. A lot of interesting things there. A lot of things you could question for Torey, for sure. Torey bunting with Geraldo Perdomo there to start the 10th inning. Now, I don't even think I introduced him because he doesn't even want to talk about this game. He doesn't want to talk to me, but it is Damon Dog on the 1s and 2s tonight. Damon Dog, I needed to get your thoughts. What did you think about Perdomo? Let's start with this one. What did you think about Perdomo bunting there? I mean, obviously, in the bottom of the extra innings, if the game's still tied and you're the home team, that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to go ahead and bunt that run over and try to do everything you can to just score that one run because that's all you need.
Yeah, it's classic Dbacks, right? But I don't know if it's the right call. I don't know if it's the decision that most managers make. And I think that that's what makes people upset because I think most managers let their best hitter throughout the course of this entire season, or most consistent hitter, best late game, best situational hitter, go up there and swing the bat in that moment. And Mark Grace was saying, like, if it was for a win, yes, but for the tie, that's what he didn't love. And so, you know, I can understand that aspect a little bit. But yeah, it's I didn't love it. But yeah, I mean, I guess I wasn't shocked by it.
Well, he put down a great bunt. He got the job done, right? So realistically, from that point on, Torey had said after.
He's a bunt guy.
He's a bunt guy. He does everything well. But he was 0 for 3 in this game, and he had a walk and a run scored. But his 12-game hitting streak did come to an end, and I would have loved to see him try to extend that in that moment instead of bunting. Also, what I was going to get to is Torey did kind of say that he knew that Jerry was going to bunt and then that they were going to walk Corbin and Gabby most likely behind him. So I don't really know what the game plan there was if Jake McCarthy is who you were going to rely on to get the job done. I feel a little bit better about James McCann, considering what James McCann has been able to do for this team in some of these moments, but I don't, I don't. I mean,
James McCann. I love James McCann with less than 2 outs.
Yeah,
I would have loved James McCann with less than 2 outs.
Yeah.
The problem is that you had to get through Jake McCarthy first.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody was feeling good about that based off the way Jake's been swinging it over the course of this season. Like, I don't know, man. I'm very, very upset about that at bat in particular, but I'm sure we'll get into it.
Right. And I also think that there is plenty to question about Torey tonight because there was, that moment. There was a moment where he had Juan Murillo warming up, and instead of turning to Juan Murillo to go up against Teoscar Hernandez, he did leave Philip Abner in there, who did give up that extra run. Again, we don't know how this game plays out if the Diamondbacks are able to hold the Dodgers to just 3 runs. Obviously, with the way it did play out, you're like, they win this game if you prevent that run from scoring there by the bullpen. But Torey did discuss the bunting after the game. We have video of that. Here's what Torey had to say about having Jerry bunt in that moment.
The analytics says to bunt, and, I haven't bunted, and it hasn't worked. I have bunted, it hasn't worked. I've not bunted, it's worked, and I've bunted and it's worked. It's just how it happens. How do I feel about it? I feel like when you get a run at third base and less than 2 outs, you got to find a way to win the baseball game. And I knew that there was a chance they'd pitch around Corbin. I knew there was a chance they'd load the bases with Gabby, but we had some things in place. We secured some things in place that we felt like we were going to score a run with Jake at the plate. We just didn't do it. We didn't execute.
They didn't execute. They really didn't. And again, it's a shame because they just didn't execute in those moments that could have put them ahead and get this win, but they did execute at times in order to put themselves into this position. I mean, coming into this, it was a second night in a row that the Diamondbacks absolutely got dominated by a Dodgers starter The Ohtani did in game 1. This one looked a little bit more promising because this time it was Blake Snell, and he gives up that early run in the first inning. So you feel like maybe this is a little different. My Nerfy was ruined from the minute that Shohei Ohtani stepped up to bat as the very first batter of the game. He tripled, and eventually he scored to give the Dodgers a 1-run lead right away, and then the Diamondbacks even scored to just double down and ruin my Nerfy even further. But
Shohei has been just destroying your bets the last couple of days.
He's it's like he knows. It's like he's connected, and
it's like maybe he's betting the opposite.
Maybe it's like he's betting.
I'm just saying
that's incendiary because that means he'd be betting on baseball, right, Damon? That's not what that can't be going on.
Not Shohei.
No, not Shohei. But by the way, there were a couple of moments I don't even think I brought up that really, when I was just looking at Shohei's body language and things that he was doing, I found myself saying, you know what, Damon's right. He might be a bad guy. He might be a bad guy, right? But of course, in this game, Ketel Marte hit a leadoff double in the first inning and then scored on a Gabby Moreno sac fly, so he felt a little better about the offense. Unfortunately, from there, the D-backs just had a bunch of harmless singles that really didn't do much and didn't really string together much in any innings. I mean, the rest of their hits while Blake Snell was out there was a Vargas single in the second inning, a Ketel single in the third inning, a Blaze single in the fourth inning, and then a Corbin Carroll single in the sixth. So again, Diamondbacks had a awful night as far as producing any kind of offense against the Dodgers starting pitching. And their starting pitching is excellent, to be fair. I mean, now that Ohtani is at 100% and was able to give him 6 innings strong yesterday, and Blake Snell is doing what he's doing for this team, I mean, they're formidable. And they have so many starting pitchers, it kind of makes you sick, right? Including they have possibly their best one in Yamamoto going tomorrow in the finale for the Dodgers. But the 8th inning came around. The Diamondbacks did figure out a way to score. Then with 1 out, Ketel Marte singled, then Perdomo walked, and Corbin Carroll delivered with an RBI double that scored Marte and cut the lead at the time to 4-2. Then Gabby Moreno had a weird swinging bunt situation, a grounder that Dodgers catcher Ben Rortvedt whiffed on picking up, and then Perdomo scored, and Gabby was also safe at first. That little bit let the score be 4-3, and then there was a sac fly by Adrian Del Castillo, who came in a pinch hit situation. He scored Corbin Carroll and tied the game up at 4, and it was just like last night. It felt like it was very much setting up for like last night, and I think everybody was feeling that way too, right? Like everybody was feeling it. I was feeling it. People in the press box were feeling it. And then the Dodgers bring in Clayton Kershaw in the 9th inning, and it infuriated me because Clayton Kershaw, as you know, has not been very good against the Diamondbacks at times, but of course today, of all times, him coming in there in the
I thought that
inning.
was it, Derek. I thought that was a walk-off waiting to happen.
Oh, I loved it. I was so pumped to see him.
Me too.
I don't know if I want to call it run out of the bullpen, but he came out of the bullpen is what he did.
Kershaw with his walker out of the bullpen.
Hey, man.
His walker with tennis balls on the bottom.
That old man dominated the Diamondbacks. They did not have an answer for him in the 9th inning. What was more surprising, though, is that the Dodgers then turned to another reliever after that for the 10th, right? Like, you have Kershaw. I imagine he can go 2 innings, and I'm fine with that, but it just goes to show the difference in managing styles, like with Torey versus Dave Roberts, right? Like the Dodgers have a variety of weapons. The problem is they just don't know which ones are going to fail at which time. And Tanner Scott, even though he's their closer, has not been very good for them this season. But in the 10th there, the Dodgers had Marte as the ghost runner, and Perdomo moved him to 3rd with that sac bunt. And then Dodgers walked Carroll and Moreno. They pitched Jake McCarthy. His at-bat wasn't even competitive. And I'm not going to try to trash Jake right now in this moment. But not only did he not produce anything that was, that helped this team score a run or even something that was slightly competitive or might have had a chance, but just his swings looked kind of half-hearted. So it was a weird. He
had no chance, Derek. He had no chance.
Was that as apparent? Because I know he was like trying to swing the contact. He was trying to he was just trying to poke something through the infield, but it just didn't look like his swings were even real swings, and it looked like he just had no idea.
The only person that won up Jake McCarthy in terms of uncompetitiveness in an AB tonight was Alek Thomas, who had the single worst AB, I think, of the season tonight to end the game. Those two in particular, it's just like, what do you do, man? You can't just keep giving them ABs year after year. I know that it's the situation the D-backs are in right now, and those are the guys that they're going to have to go down with. But, I mean, big decisions are going to have to be made next year regarding those two in particular.
For sure. And honestly, I mean, to be fair, they have tried things differently, right? They've had Jorge Barossa in the lineup. They've had Blaze Alexander in the outfield. They've had Tim Tawa in the outfield. So it's not like they're just exclusively trying to wedge Jake McCarthy and Alek Thomas out there, but it's disappointing considering that both of those guys have had success for this organization in some huge moments, and yet both of them have failed to like outpace each other, right? We're still having the same conversations about, Alek's defense is a little better, but Jake's at bats have been a little better, but you couldn't even say that lately with Jake's at bats, and it's unfortunate. Also unfortunate that the Diamondbacks didn't really have somebody else they could turn to off the bench besides Connor Kaiser in that moment. I would have given Connor Kaiser a chance. What the hell? But defensively, Geraldo Perdomo did make a fielding error, so he's not perfect, but that didn't really cost them anything. It was just on Teoscar Hernandez's double there that scored Betts to give the Dodgers a 4-1 lead at the time, and then Hernandez makes it over to third base on the error. He would not score. But defensively, let's talk about Corbin Carroll making one of the most perfect throws that we've seen Corbin Carroll make all year long. Those seem to be coming more frequently, but this one was incredible. He made an absolutely killer throw on a Mookie Betts single to get the ghost runner Hyesung Kim and preserve the lead at 4 there in the 10th inning. So honestly, the Diamondbacks probably would have lost an inning earlier had it not been for Corbin Carroll's incredible throw. He now has a career best 9 outfield assists, and his arm just continues to get better and better as the season goes on.
He's a stud, Derek. He's a stud. And we talked about it so much, me and Jesse in particular, about how weak his arm was. I mean, he's just completely turned that upside down in one off season. And it's crazy. I've really never seen anything like it from like an athleticism standpoint. Like, have you ever really seen a guy who, like, it seems like there's like an athletic ceiling on something that he can do? Like, hey, man, this guy just doesn't have the arm. Yeah. And then one off season later, and he's like, yeah, he actually has a slightly above average arm compared to your average MLB outfielder. It's wild.
I think it's complacency, right? I think like some athletes think they have reached that ceiling, which isn't ever the case, right? Like you can never stop learning. You can never stop getting better. You can never stop figuring out how guys 50, 60 years ago were able to make some absolute incredible throws that we don't even see guys today make, right? So I think a lot of it is about technique, just like a batting stance. We saw Corbin make those changes and those adjustments to his batting stance, and it yielded this 30 home run season, this historic 30-30 season that no D-backs player has ever had. I think it's the same with his ability to throw. I don't really think it's a matter of going into the gym and pumping iron in order for your arm to be stronger. I think it's a matter of technique. And I do agree that some people might have a ceiling, but I also think that it's like a lot of things in life. It's about your own personal growth and deciding whether you want to get better or not. Some people have an attitude that they are the best that they'll ever be. I feel like I have far outkicked my coverage on my potential, quite frankly, as a human being. So I'm very proud of myself for that. Do I think I can go out there and get better than this? I mean, probably, because what you see before you is not very good. But it's still a work in progress, even at the ripe old age of, how old am I now? 43 years old?
You're so positive, Derek.
I know, I'm trying.
You're ringing with positivity.
But
all I was going to say is that
when I'm talking about Corbin, it's hard not to be positive.
Corbin is, to me, all it just says is that Corbin is truly special. Because most players can't do something like that. And he did it, and I think it's, thank God he's a Diamondback. That's really all I have to say in regards to Corbin Carroll. We do have some sound, Derek, in terms of Torey Lovullo and Corbin Carroll both talking about his throw tonight. Which one do you want to hear from?
Let's hear from Torey first.
Yeah, that was a tremendous throw. I think I looked up on the board and had the StatCast up there, so it was 87 miles an hour. And that tells me that he's worked hard to make that happen. That was a very accurate throw, had a great bounce, and McCann was able to apply the tag. So it was an unbelievable play. an unbelievable player making an unbelievable play. And look, that's what we do. I keep saying it, right? I want these guys competitive best at the most critical time when it's needed. And that's what happened right there. It was awesome.
Piece of Yoshi brings up a great point that we can't throw on the screen because it does have a curse word in it. But I will say, why the F did we go to a 4-man rotation? I don't know. And we're going to talk about it in segment 4 with the breaking news that we received in the clubhouse after we'd already spoken to Torey about the Diamondbacks turning to Jalen Beeks as an opener in tomorrow's finale against the Dodgers. But before we do that, we got to hear from Corbin on that throw. Here's what Corbin had to softly say about his amazing throw.
Just got to it quick and threw it. Fast runner there on second base, so I had to get rid of it quick. And Cam made a great tag.
You hate to see that, Derek, because you know that if the D-backs had got the W tonight, Corbin would have just had like a soft little smile while talking about it. I mean, it would have been like the exact same.
It wouldn't have been much different at all.
The audio would have sounded exactly the same if you closed your eyes, but if you were watching it visually, you would see like just a hint of a smile versus what I just saw, which was one of the saddest scenes of all time.
Yeah. And Torey Lovullo in the chat, he's right. He says it was a great tag. That's what it's all about. The tag from McCann was great. Just like when Gabby did it and Gabby said the tag was better than the throw, that tag is much harder to corral and get placed on the runner's body somewhere before they cross home plate. So together they did an excellent job at maintaining the tie at the time. And it really did feel like things were going to go their way, especially after that particular out. It just felt like momentum was on their side and everything was going their way. And, again, it felt like the momentum just flew right out of Chase Field during that McCarthy at bat. But we do have a little bit more from Corbin. Here's what he had to say about moving on after this tough loss.
There's nothing to say. There's just we have to win these games, and everyone's on board with that. So I don't think that there's any feeling sorry for ourselves. It's just we got to win tomorrow.
That's all they got to do. Win tomorrow, and all of this goes away. This has happened several times over the course of September where a single loss has made us all say, well, that's it. It's a wrap. They're cooked. And somehow they found a way to still keep in this. Like I said earlier, it's not ideal that they lost this game, but you also couldn't really reasonably expect them to S-word the Dodgers. So they still have a chance to win the series tomorrow, and that's what's important should they be able to do that. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know in what universe Jalen Beeks being the opener gives them a good chance to do that, but we do know that Corbin Carroll was excellent today, and he gave this team a chance to win, and he is our king snake for today's game. He was 2 for 3 with 2 walks, an RBI, and a big double that he had tonight. Of course, Ketel Marte also earned a little bit of acknowledgement. He continues to be good since he figured out whatever was wrong with his hand that he still won't tell us about. He was 3 for 5 tonight with 2 runs scored. And then, of course, a couple of other guys. You had Gabby Moreno going 1 for 3 with 2 RBI. And then again, we talked about Perdomo. Unfortunately, his 12-game hitting streak did come to an end in this game. But the Diamondbacks, again, have a chance in their last 4 games here to still do the thing. Do I feel great about it? Absolutely not. Tonight felt like it was the night, right? Tonight felt like it was the night to put yourself at least in that wild card spot, even though that doesn't mean you hold on to it. It just would have been nice. I think it would have been good for team morale. I think it would have been good for their confidence for them to sit in that final wild card spot for tonight. Go to bed, wake up, see your team still in that wild card spot, at least tomorrow morning. But again, it doesn't mean that they're out of it. It was a terrible, missed opportunity to not make up ground, but at least they don't lose ground again with the Reds and the Mets both losing. So Diamondbacks have very little time though to turn this thing around and really still have some very, very tough opponents before them. All of them have something to play for, including the Dodgers being able to potentially clinch the NL West tomorrow in our house. And our house has a great pool, and what they're going to want to do in the pool. So we need everyone to call out of work right now and show up for tomorrow's 12:40 start because we need all the bodies on hand that we can get. Before we move on, let's go ahead and hear from Torey about this loss. This is what Torey had to say overall on tonight's efforts.
This was a tale of two games. I look at it from the standpoint where we let some things get away from us, and then kind of regained our composure, got back up, and started to push across some real good at bats, which resulted in some runs. We had some opportunities late in the game to win the game, and we were all frustrated by it, and we didn't execute. Didn't execute at the right time to win that baseball game. We know the stakes are high. We know what's going on. We know the scores of the game. We're all scoreboard watching, and we're allowed to because we've earned that. But at the end of the day, you got to regroup, find a way to flush this, and make sure you're ready to play a baseball game tomorrow because it's going to be a quick turnaround. But we're all hurting right now. I'm not going to lie, and we should, because I feel like we could have played better and done better to win this baseball game. And those are my standards here. And that's the standards inside of that clubhouse. When you're ready to win a game, you slow the game down, you go out there and find a way to get it done. We just couldn't do that today. You can point to a lot of different factors. I know everybody's going to want to know what happened in the 10th, but things happened early in the game too that weren't helping us win moments and win innings and win the game.
Well, they didn't do that tonight. And again, it's not exactly an easy thing to do at times, but there are some big moves that weren't made, and you have to question those moves because those moves could have been the difference in tonight's game, including why you would have a righty in the pen warming up and not coming in to face a righty, especially a very dangerous righty in Teoscar Hernandez. You could also say something similar about, having Jerry bunt there, knowing that the rest of that inning was going to play out the way that the exact way it played out, right? Leaving yourself in a position with bases loaded and Jake McCarthy at the dish didn't feel like the best option for you. So again, why take the bat out of your best player's hands? But we're going to talk more about the pitching on the other side of this break. We're also going to talk about where the Diamondbacks stand in the wild card race and that breaking news about tomorrow's start. Zac Gallen, we did find out, will start on Friday. We're going to have more about that on the other side of this break. Actually, not right away. We're going to make you wait for that. But don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Dbacks show. Tonight is a perfect night for Pure Edibles. Damon and I could both use all of the Pure Edibles. We might have to raid Max's office and apologize later, but that's only because Pure Edibles make some wonderful candy, and they make a full line of candy, not just gummies. They make hard candies, chews. They make their kicks, which are like Starburst, and they also make some wonderful all-in-one vape pens. And I love the fact that they have collaborated with my favorite brewery here in town. It is Mother Road, who makes the iconic, everyone knows it, Tower Station IPA. I don't know, I might be throwing that out there. I love it. You should try it if you love IPAs. But you should also try their new collaboration with Pure Edibles, which is now known as Noble Road, and it's their Tower Station IPA all-in-one, where it is happy hour all the time. Their new offering captures the crisp citrus and piney hops of Arizona's favorite IPA, but with a smooth THC twist, with an all-in-one device, which I'm a big fan of those. Makes it easy. I lose the batteries all the time anyway. They stop working, so all-in-ones are the way to go. And if you're in Arizona, swing by local dispensaries and grab your Tower Station all-in-one from Noble Road. Cheers to happy hour all day, every day. Go find yourself some Pure Edible products from one of over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And of course, I've also said this in the past, but Circle K pairs very well with our friends at Pure Edibles. Make sure to stop by Circle K. If you are not an Inner Circle member, I don't know what you're waiting for. Do so right now. It's free.
You hate money.
You hate money. You hate saving money. You hate getting stuff for free. You also hate ease, because all you got to do is sign up on their app. Very easy to do so. And then all you do is use your phone number to start saving money immediately. You'll save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups over there, which is very good because gas is not cheap these days. You also save on all sorts of drinks and treats inside, including 79-cent Polar Pops, 99-cent Frosters, and 3 for $5 Gatorades. You also can get more savings on gas where you visit once per week and you can save 10 cents per gallon. All you got to do is make a $5 purchase or a 5-gallon fill-up, and you can earn this once per week. Again, just join the Inner Circle and you'll get all of these savings. Just got to do it for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. All right. Well, Ryne Nelson was cooking tonight. Nelly was cooking. It wasn't his best outing, But again, it's another consistent outing for Ryne Nelson. And tonight he was charged with the loss, but then he got the no decision. So he finally got the reverse Uno card on the situation, because what Ryne Nelson has been doing has been giving this team a chance to win and then watching this team blow those games once he has exited them. But it didn't seem like it was going to be that kind of night after he gave up a leadoff triple to Shohei Ohtani in the first inning that just destroyed my Nerfy and broke my heart. And then Ohtani would score on a Mookie Betts sac fly. But from that point on, Nelly's four seam just got going. It had some giddy up on it. He threw it 66% of his outing. It maxed out at 97.3 miles per hour. He threw the curveball, slider a little bit, but mostly he stayed away from that cutter, because I think the cutter is the pitch that he ended up throwing that allowed that, the home run, right? So that wasn't great. That was the Andy Pages homer, his 26th of the year. And that one was, like I said, on a cut fastball. Once he threw that, I don't believe he threw the cutter again, but he did have 14 whiffs tonight and 7 on his four seam. And he threw, like I said, he threw his four seam 66% of the outing. So it was all fastballs all the time for Nelly tonight. And quite frankly, he did a great job here against the Dodgers. I mean, I know when a pitcher goes out there and gives up a crooked number, as Torey likes to call it, it doesn't look like it's the best outing. But I feel like, especially after the way this game started with that Ohtani triple, that Nelly really just, I mean, he has nerves of steel, and he can figure out a way to not let any of that impact him and just get better as the outing went on. He went on to record 9 strikeouts in this game. I think that is definitely Circle K strikeout meter worthy. And of course, Nelly, 6 innings tonight for the Diamondbacks, 7 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 0 walks. And look, he almost filled up the entire strikeout meter. So appreciate Nelly's efforts tonight. And again, it's much like last night with, just giving this team a chance to win. It's not a perfect outing. It wasn't Brandon Pfaadt going 9 innings scoreless, but he gave the Diamondbacks a chance to win tonight. You could definitely say the same about Ryne Nelson, and he's done that all year long for this team. And also tonight, Nelly got you a free hot dog, you guys. So if you have not already signed up for Circle K rewards, well, there's only one home game left. But don't forget, with every K you win at Circle K, text STRIKE to 31310 to start saving right now on fuel, food, and drinks after every Dbacks home game. And Torey didn't call me Circle K before today's game, speaking of which, Damon, and I think, quite frankly, that's why we lost it.
That might have something to do with today's loss.
I didn't call him Trajan Wealth, and he didn't call me Circle K. So, but again, if you are signed up, you'll get that free hot dog over at Circle K.
Meanwhile, I can't get the Jeff Bannister "Why Refi" commercial out of my head personally.
I still want to know why Jeff Bannister's back in college.
Why is it Jeff Bannister?
Why is it Bannister, and why is he in the top bunk?
Why is he getting out of a bunk bed?
I would think Bannister would win that argument about who gets the bottom bunk.
100%.
Right?
Who's alphaing Jeff Bannister?
Not me. Tonight, me and Bannister, same shoes on, same book ones, rattlesnake book ones. Look, I'm gonna throw them up in the shot. Just because, I don't feel like people out there.
How's that go? Is that the type of guy you go up to and go, "Hey, look, same shoes"?
Yeah, I tried to.
Because personally,
it didn't work well. It didn't go well for me, Damon. He wasn't keen to the twinsy thing we had going on.
Personally, yeah, that seems like the opposite of that type of guy. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's the kind of guy that whittles wood. You know what I mean? He's the kind of guy that smokes tobacco out of a pipe. He does not have any interest in discussing the fact that we're both wearing rattlesnake shoes, But I'll tell you, still good effort tonight overall from this bullpen. I still don't understand not going to Murillo against Hernandez if you had him warming in the bullpen. Andrew Saalfrank, another question there is, I don't know what's going on with Saalfrank. Torey Lovullo told us before the game that he was available. Told us he was available last night. And Saalfrank comes out and he pitches in a very early situation, right? Like I don't know. It feels like Saalfrank is coming into games earlier and earlier. I felt like he was a high leverage guy, and I felt like he had done well in that role. So I'm not exactly sure what changed. Philip Abner, who has been very good. He came in, he struck out Freddie Freeman with a 91-mile-per-hour fastball that just left me absolutely confused, and I think it was a big reason why Torey left him out there. He did say that he liked him against Hernandez, but that did not work well for him. Abner goes 2/3 of an innings pitch. He gave up 2 hits, an earned run, and a strikeout. Murillo came in and cleaned up the inning. He got the 1 out, 1/3 of an inning. Ryan Thompson had a very uneventful inning under his belt. 1 inning pitched there in the 9th inning. Nothing going from that point on. And then Brandon Garcia. What an inning in the 10th. That was the inning where Corbin Carroll made the incredible throw to get Kim at home plate. But the inning started off with Brandon Garcia striking out Shohei Ohtani to start the inning, and the inning ends with him striking out Freddie Freeman to end it. Brandon Garcia was part of the Josh Naylor trade, and Brandon Garcia is turning into a very valuable piece in the bullpen for the Diamondbacks. I don't even think it's fair to hang what happened in the bottom of the 11th on him, because he did come back out for that inning of work. And, again, it was a tough situation. He did give up the hit.
No, that's not fair at all. I think anytime a reliever strands that ghost runner for 1 inning, it's hard to blame them when they go back out there for their second inning of work and they give up that run.
The Dodgers have Clayton Kershaw go out there for an inning of work, and they're like, yeah, you did your job. You're done, right? The idea of a reliever only giving 1 inning of work, only getting a minimal amount of work, is the idea that you could pitch them often, right? That if they're only going out there like Murillo did today and pitched 1/3 of an inning, they got 1 out, didn't have to face multiple batters, their arm should be good to come back out. Maybe not tomorrow's game, but definitely in San Diego, right? So, again, it's very odd usage at times, and that's something that you could definitely say is on Torey Lovullo as a manager, and that he doesn't really even know what he's doing sometimes with these bullpen arms. I don't mean to go all, full on fire Torey from the chat on him there, but I mean, again, he'll even say it, which makes fans lose confidence. He'll say sometimes that, just like he said there with the bunting situation, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes he pulls the right lever, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's doing it blindly and has no idea what's going on, right? So especially with the fact that a lot of these bullpen arms, really, the sample size is so small, how do you even really know in the case of some of these guys who you can and can't trust? You got to kind of figure it out. And right now, unfortunately, the only way to do so is to throw them out there in these high leverage situations and see who can pitch and who can get them out, who can basically be cold-blooded and go into these big moments. I think Brandon Garcia was excellent tonight, quite frankly. And again, like Damon said, I don't think it's fair to ask him to pitch multiple innings and to have him, with the ghost runner, have him be expected to hold that ghost runner the entire time and not give up any runs while his team is unable to convert their own ghost runner. So overall, just a crappy way for this game to end, especially considering the joy that we all experienced last night in the walk-off victory and how much tonight's game felt like it was replicating that joy. Now we have no idea what's going to happen in the finale, and we have no idea what's going on with this season. I don't even understand how the 4-man rotation is breaking down, nor do I even understand how the Diamondbacks are now set up for the postseason, should they reach the postseason. And we are going to talk
about... Do the Dbacks even understand how the 4-man rotation is breaking down?
I don't think so. I don't think they do. But
guys, it sounds like it's just a 5-man rotation.
With now a bullpen start? I mean, we're going to get into it. Before we move on, though, I do want to hear from Ryne Nelson, because Nelly, he looked far too dejected tonight, considering the effort that he gave this team. But I get it. I mean, this one hurts us as fans. It hurts them even more as players. Let's hear from Ryne Nelson on his outing tonight. Let's hear from him about that first.
I felt good. Just a couple mistakes, cutter over the heart of the plate for a 2-run homer ends up being the difference in the game. So, yeah, frustrated with that, but overall, stuff felt good. Stuff felt really good.
Ryan is one of those guys that I put into the certified G bona fide stud category for this team. He continues to be excellent for this team. He continues to do anything he's asked of. he was even asked after the scrum, basically, or the final question asked of him is, has he been told anything about what his workload is going to be? This was his last start of the regular season. So the question now is, does Ryne Nelson, if he is feeling good, is he going to be available for this team out of the bullpen for a very critical series in San Diego? All signs point to yes, according to Ryne Nelson. He did say that if he was feeling strong and was able to do it, he would do anything to help this team win. Quite frankly, that's what he's done his entire time on the Major League roster. Is he's
par for the course,
done
man.
Everything that he's been asked to. We need you to come out of the pen. We need you to be a reliever. We need you to be a long reliever. Now we need you back in the starting rotation. Now we're going to send you down. Now we're going to bring you back up. Now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do that. Like, Ryne Nelson has always responded well. He's always taken everything, again, from the way that it's been explained about his attitude and the way that he's responded in these moments. He's always taken whatever's been asked of him and done it, and happily done it, right? So this one, you could tell, though, this one stung for him. And this is what Ryne had to say about this tough loss.
Yeah, tough one to swallow. I think the guys left it all out there today. I think regardless of how it ended, it's really fun to be a part of this team and to be a part of what we have going on here. I think that we never give up, we never stop fighting, and I think that's kind of been the story of the whole season. But yeah, tough one to swallow, but all we can do is just go home, get some rest, and come back out here ready to win a game tomorrow.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Diamondbacks do to pull out all the stops with this roster in order to try to give themselves a chance to win in the finale against the Dodgers and in the 3-game final series of the year in San Diego. But we will be right back. On the other side of this break, we are going to talk about the numbers from this series and take a look at the wild card standings. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Dbacks show. Well, like I said, my parlay was ruined in the very first inning of this game. I hope yours went much better than mine. But don't forget that it is never ordinary over at Bet365. They have 90 million users worldwide, and they offer the widest range of games and markets available across 78 sports for live in-game betting. Of course, right now you can get down on MLB early payout offer before MLB goes away, where you're a winner if your team goes ahead by 5 runs with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, which will also be marked as winners. Of course, they also have wonderful offers for football season now that football season is here. For NFL, they have Thursday Night Football, $10 safety bet offer. For Sunday Night Football, they have a $365,000 jackpot where you just have to place a $10 bet on a first touchdown score. And if your first touchdown score happens to be the last touchdown score, you get a share of that $365,000 jackpot. They also have 50% super profit boost tokens for same game parlays over there for Monday Night Football. So do not miss out on any of these wonderful offers over at Bet365. Of course, it is never ordinary over there, and they show you the reason why it's never ordinary. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use our code of PHNX365 when you do. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 or more to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary over at Bet365. Must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. And of course, again, trying to save you some money over at Game Time. You got our code of PHNX, get you $20 off. Game Time's already saving you money. They're saving you money on last minute ticket deals. They're saving you up to 60% off on those. And of course, big part of Game Time is that your priority fees are included. You're going to know what your total is up front with no surprises at checkout. And you know, most ticket services, they always do that. Even if they're showing you the taxes and fees, there's some other fee that they hit you up with at the end. Not with Game Time. They're all inclusive up front. You will know exactly what you're paying. You also know exactly what your seat view is going to look like. You can get a panoramic view.
That's my favorite feature, Derek.
Right? Like, tell me it's an obstructed view seat. How obstructed? I need to know. I can get a panoramic view before I do that. Also, your ticket is covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Damon, what time is it?
Game MF in time, Derek.
That's right. That's right.
Wish I could still say bad words.
I know. I miss saying bad words. We can still do Dbacks After Dark. Maybe we'll just do one. We'll just scream about this game. But I will say this with Game Time is that I recently bought a ticket to an NFL football game, and then I didn't actually go inside. And that's only because I had so much fun tailgating outside. I still bought my ticket. I don't know. Maybe someone sat in my seat. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. I'll never know. But
it's such a Derek move.
It is a Derek move. I had a great time. I maybe had a better time staying outside. But again, thank you.
I'd assume that's why you made that call.
You're right. You're right. But let's take a look at the count presented by our friends at Desert Financial.
Was this an ASU game or a Cardinals game?
This is a Cardinals football game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was really hoping you were going to say ASU.
No, I mean, that's different. Like, I'll literally get lost in Tempe and not, even though I can see the stadium from far away, I'll forget where it is. It blends in with the mountain really easily, and then it's just gone. But yeah, no, a lot of forgotten memories in Tempe. Good times, especially for football games. But now you're just taking me back to good times. I want to discuss bad times, Damon. I want to discuss this game, and I want to discuss the awful numbers from it. But that's not Desert Financial's fault. They just made sure our numbers were correct. They don't actually hold any accountability for what the Diamondbacks did here tonight. What they did do is lose this game to the Dodgers by a score of 5-4. The Dodgers out-hit the Diamondbacks 11-9. Both teams had 2 hits with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers were 2 for 7. The Diamondbacks 2 for 11. So they can't say the Diamondbacks didn't have their chance. They just didn't shoot their shot and deliver their chance. Of course, extra base hits. The Dodgers had 3, including that big home run that was the difference maker here. Diamondbacks had 2 extra base hits. Expected batting average 288 for the Dodgers, 247 for the Diamondbacks. Overall, this one, just kind of a stinker. Like I said, I don't know if, again, this is another indication of this season, but it just feels like we've gone through this a lot with this team where you almost wonder, would it have just been better just, again, to lose 4-1 or to lose 3-1 instead of losing in extra innings by a score of 5-4 where they made you believe after their offense was listless, mostly harmless throughout this entire game. That's the best way I could describe their offense. Mostly harmless. Yeah, there were hits, but did they string any together? No. Did they do anything that disrupted Blake Snell and his game plan today? Absolutely not. They were dominated by Blake Snell, and the only thing you can say about this team is, once again, they did not give up. And late, even though they were down, their starting pitching, Ryne Nelson, their bullpen, kept them in it and kept the game at least somewhat close, allowed them to tie it up and send it into extra innings. So much like the way this season might go, this is exactly how this season might go, where we might get this close and the heartbreak might happen, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't commend them for fighting and for not giving up. And that's something that I have to do for this team in this game. They didn't give up. And even though you could question some of the managerial decisions, and you could definitely question the performance or the at-bat of Jake McCarthy in that big moment, you can't really question the fact that this team does not really roll over and die in the same way that they did earlier on in the season. This would have been a game that the Diamondbacks would have had no comeback in them by the time that it got down to the 8th and 9th inning. So you got to be proud of that. But overall,
I think that there's something to be said about that, Derek. I know people don't want to hear that at all right now, but like this, there's something to be said about like this team wouldn't be in this position if they weren't playing hard baseball all season long, right?
Yeah.
Like to your point. And it's just I feel like
there are so many losses that shouldn't have been losses. And I mean, much like last year with us falling one game short, that could very well happen again, where we are going to be left looking at so many games that we should have won, including maybe this one, and wondering what could have been, especially in the 10th inning with bases loaded and only 1 out, right? Jorge Barosa, where were you? We needed you in that moment. But
the sad reality is that a season like this, where you end up making it really close and almost getting into the playoffs, even if you're just like a game or two short, people are going to be more angry about a season like that than they would be if the Dbacks just simply flamed out with a bunch of AAA players in the final months of the season. So it's difficult to approach, especially with what we do. But in a night like this, also it's understandably like the fan base is fired up about how winnable this game was.
I'm going to tell you another thing. I'm going to tell you whose fault it really is. For the second year in a row, it's the goddamn New York Mets' fault. It's the New York Mets' fault.
It's 100%
because
the case.
It's the New York Mets. The Mets were such a calamity this month. They were such an awful baseball team that they let the Diamondbacks back into a race. They let the Reds back into a race. They let the Giants back into a race that none of us should have been in. None of us. If you look at the American League, the final team is like 10, 11, 12 games above 500. The Mets should not be in this position. The Diamondbacks shouldn't even be this close. The only reason why they are is because the Mets are awful and they collapsed and they let the rest of the pack catch up and be back in this race, right? So again, that is something to remember, that the Mets did this to us. We shouldn't even be talking about relevant baseball the last 2 weeks of the season, yet we are, because of how bad the Mets have been. And honestly, how good the Diamondbacks have been, because they deserve their flowers as well. But let's take a look exactly at where we are at in the wild card standings, aka the drunken orgy of violence we call the wild card race. The Cubs, they at least did the thing tonight. They beat the Mets tonight and beat them beat the tar out of them, you could say. They help improve their position because the Padres were really closing in on that top spot and could have taken home field advantage away. I think home field advantage is very important for those two teams. I think both of those ballparks, Petco and Wrigley Field, that's a critical thing to have that series take place, at your ballpark. So again, it's big for the Padres to overtake the Cubs. It's big for the Cubs to hold on to that top spot. Unfortunately, this could be something, gives the Padres something to play for come that final series of the year. The Mets sit at 81 and 77, and the Diamondbacks could have tied them tonight with a win. Instead, the Diamondbacks and the Reds both sit one game back outside of the wild card race at 80 and 78. And, I don't know. I think that I think the Diamondbacks still have a chance. I'm not ready to fold up shop and leave here. But I will say that, again, this is, even if they were in that spot, to spin this positively, as I tend to do, to silver lining this, if they were in that spot, it doesn't mean anything right now because it's not the end of the season. So it's not like losing this game and ending up one game back means that we don't have a chance, nor did it mean that the Diamondbacks got that wild card spot by being in that position and tying the Mets. So again, there's still 4 more games to play, regardless of how tonight's game plays out. The Diamondbacks still have a lot of winning left to do if they expect to get into the postseason. So when all is said and done, this loss might have been a moot point overall. But what we're going to do, we're going to take one last quick commercial break, and then on the other side, we are going to talk about this shocking turn of events that now has Jalen Beeks starting in Game 3 against the Dodgers instead of Zac Gallen. I'm also going to tell you about why, deep down inside, I feel like we were robbed of Zac Gallen's final home game, or at least knowing that it was Zac Gallen's final home game. We're going to do that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, for more than 15 years, Access Insurance Agency of Arizona has provided affordable and reliable car insurance to drivers in the Phoenix metro area. By partnering with over 20 insurance carriers, they make it easy for you to compare rates and find the best policy for your budget. And that's big, especially like I've said in the past. It's hard to sit there and actually call that many different carriers and try to compare rates. You get fatigued, you don't have the stamina for it, but our friends at Access Auto do, and they will help you because as a dedicated part of the local community, Access Auto helps Arizona drivers get insured by offering flexible coverage options and accepting various forms of ID, driving history, and license type. So look to Access Auto. They have bilingual Spanish-speaking agents at 9 convenient locations across the valley, and the Access agents are ready to assist customers in finding the right coverage for their budgets and identifying available discounts. Access Auto, trusted by the community, rooted in Phoenix, and ready to help. All statements are subject to terms, exclusions, and conditions of the applicable policy. In all instances, the current policy contract language does prevail. Coverage is subject to individual policy holders meeting underwriting qualification and state availability. Other terms, conditions, and exclusions to apply. Also, if you're looking to make some great gear that stands apart from the crowd for your particular brand, look to Branded Bills. Branded Bills has you covered with some of the best branded custom headwear that you can find. Start your order and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need, whether it's snapbacks, trucker hats, fitted hats, beanies, shirts, bags, it doesn't matter. Branded Bills has you covered with premium headwear and apparel that will help your brand stand apart from the crowd. If you're just looking for some amazing hats, you can shop their website right now. They have partnerships with 40 universities, including ASU U of A, as part of their campus collection. They also partner with our Phoenix Suns. They're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona. And let me tell you, they make some incredible hats with some incredible logo work that is unlike anything I've ever seen. They're also extremely comfortable. Airy hats, they stretch, they have everything. They're not only that, Branded Bills is a hat that when you see another person rocking a Branded Bills hat across the room, you can identify them easily based on them being such a identifiable hat with a cool BB logo. You'll be pointing at each other saying, "What's up, my guy?" Head to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order, and go do it right now. Actually, wait until after the show. We have important news, by the way. And that important news, of course, is what we've been alluding to this entire episode. When we were in the clubhouse after we had just got done talking to Torey Lovullo, where we could have asked him some more questions about this, it was revealed to us that the Dbacks will be starting Jalen Beeks in the finale tomorrow. No additional information was provided to us. No clarification was provided on if Jalen Beeks was an opener. And I imagine that that is the only way that Jalen Beeks is starting a baseball game for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Why Jalen Beeks, though? Why turn to Jalen Beeks? This is very similar to a situation that they did in the past where they had, I believe it was Joe Mantiply start a game as an opener because of the tough left-handed hitters that they have going up in the first inning there with Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. And then I imagine that from that point, they turned to Nabil Crismat, who was a starter in their rotation and was a guy that gave them quite a bit this season. We are big fans of Nabil's, but the whole thing doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. The Diamondbacks stated that they were going to a 4-man rotation, and the only thing I can think is that this is some sort of gamesmanship with the Dodgers trying to throw them something different and throw them off their guard. Maybe there's some sort of data analytics information that the Diamondbacks have that tell them that going this route is successful against this Dodgers lineup. I don't really know, though, because this means, and they did clarify for us this as well, Zac Gallen will not be the person coming in after Jalen Beeks opens up tomorrow's game, because Zac Gallen will be starting on Friday in San Diego versus the Padres. And honestly, this is a travesty. It really is. I have no idea what Zac Gallen's future holds for him, but all I can discuss is what he has done in his past for this team. And he has been a pillar, much like Corbin Carroll was described as being, of this team, of this franchise since he arrived. He set a major league record. He has been our ace the entire time he's been here. And this, quite frankly, could be the very last start for Zac Gallen in an Arizona Diamondbacks uniform on Friday. And the Diamondbacks were going to have him start tomorrow, which would have been his final home start. It would have allowed the team to maybe put together something special for him. Maybe it would have allowed fans to give him a thank you. It also doesn't make sense. I mean, that's just me getting mushy and emotional, right? Like that's that side of it. But it also doesn't make sense logistically. So if Zac Gallen pitches on Friday, then you're going to have Eduardo Rodriguez and Brandon Pfaadt go Saturday, Sunday. Then you have one day off, and then the wild card starts on Tuesday. That's when the Diamondbacks would play, theoretically, if they made it into the postseason. So Zac Gallen's now going to pitch on 3 days rest instead of a normal 4-day rest that he could have had by pitching in Thursday's game. None of this makes sense. I have no idea what's going on. And much like a lot of managerial decisions Torey Lovullo does, I guess you could say, not moves, but does, we're all just going to be left to see if it works out or if it doesn't. But I will say right now, doesn't seem like the greatest idea, nor do I feel like it sets them up for success should they make the postseason. So I don't know if this is just matchup based or what. But we will watch it all play out, and we will be back tomorrow with another post-game show after that 12:40 start in the finale with Jalen Beeks on the mound against Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Thank you, fans.
Thank you, fans. Good luck.
Hashtag
Good luck tomorrow.
eliminated.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. But we will be here, win or lose, tomorrow. So make sure to join us for that. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. My guy Damon is at Damon Dog with a DAWG. We are all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for your time. Appreciate you stopping by. We will. Oh, Bees, you're absolutely right. I missed out on a bunch of super chats. Thank you, Bees. You're right, and I apologize. So I guess I'll do the overtime thing. Let's do that, Damon. Let's go ahead and throw it to overtime. That'll appease Faj, our overlord, as always. We're going to overtime. We call it extra innings. I'm going to argue and fight about that until the day I'm no longer hosting the show. But conversations keeps going over at gophnx.com. So make sure to join us. We got a bunch from BCSC. Let's start with Bees' first. Bees says, why must the Mets haunt us every year? Blame Yoshi. That's a great question, and I don't know. I don't know, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the Mets. I'm sick of the impact the Mets have on us. I'm sick of the Mets taking away our postseason hopes last year. I'm mad at them for giving us hope this year and then probably taking it away again. That doesn't seem very fair, right? My wife is a veterinary technician, and at times she just brings home adorable animals, and she's like, oh, we're watching this for the night. And I'm like, I'm supposed to give this baby English bulldog back to someone tomorrow? That's not happening.
I love him.
He's mine now. He's my son, and don't talk to me or my son ever again. And that's how Cosmo ended up in my house. So don't ever let your dog stay overnight at my house, because they will stay there forever. But moving on. We got BCSC, a bunch from BCSC. Damon, I'm gonna let you read those.
All right, BCSC $2. Sorry, I'm just done with Torey. THA boot.
The clown boot?
Oh, the boot.
Oh, the boot. Yeah.
Wow, BCSC's out on Torey, then says, I know we lost when he didn't pinch hit for Jake Woodford and when he left in Brandon Garcia for the final out in the 11th. Got to email President Hall.
Jake Woodford no longer on this team.
I think he meant Jake McCarthy. Yeah, sure. And then BCSC goes on to say, he's crashing
out.
I'm crashing on Torey like Kendrick did on Drake.
Oh, no.
And then says, Steven vote over Torey Lovullo, and vote has less experience. Damn, we got BCSC talking ball again, Derek.
And wanting to
I told you thank you, fans, and that yeah. I've never felt more confident.
That's the most thank you, fans moment ever, right? We have a special 3-game series of events lined up for you, including some amazing deals in the team shop. Is he going to cut a diss record on Torey with the Kendrick Drake line? I just want to make sure.
That would not end well for Torey.
There is a lot.
You don't want that smoke.
I want to say this. There is a lot of talk in the chat, and there has been all night long on something about Mark Grace that happened.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with what happened, because unfortunately
I don't really know what anyone in particular is talking about, like if specifically, but basically, Derek, Mark Grace was essentially just.
Did he have enough?
In the post-game press conference, he just was basically like, I can't for the life of me understand why you're taking the bat out of your MVP candidate's hands. And he was just very kind of against Torey Lovullo, but he wasn't doing it, in my opinion, in a disrespectful way. He just said, hey, I have some disagreements with some things that happened late in this baseball game. And then it seemed like he somewhat like changed his tone maybe after they hit a commercial break. So people are saying Paul might have came in from inside the house. But
yeah, there's a call.
Again, I didn't think anything Mark Grace said was like over the top in the time being.
Here's the thing. It's just like what I was telling Damon before we got on air. There are times where you criticize the manager, but if you just literally criticize everything the manager does all the time, then it loses its bite, right? Like, you have to blame people when it's time to blame them. Like, I blame Torey for some of the moves, but Damon and I discussed it. I think we both blamed Jake for the lack of performance in the moment, right? Like, there weren't a lot of options, so it's not like, oh, why didn't you pinch hit ADC for Jake in that moment or something like that? Like, Connor Kaiser was the only available option, so I don't think anybody's questioning that. But there are moments where I think we need to compartmentalized. Is that, I'm not saying that right. There's no way, but we gotta blame the manager when the decisions don't make sense and then lead to the team losing a game. But we also have to blame players for performance, right? And sometimes, at times, we're blaming, the wrong party. Baseball's just weird though, right? Like there are things about baseball where, for instance, we blamed the pitching staff for the way they were performing at times, especially the starting pitchers during stretches this year. We know that Brandon Pfaadt and Eduardo Rodriguez and Zac Gallen all had ERAs over 5 at one point. Then you put James McCann behind the plate, and now you're seeing all of your starting pitchers suddenly have this different level of success. You're starting to see James McCann kind of edge out Gabby Moreno here at the end of the season as being the actual starting catcher, and Gabby's kind of relegated to a DH role, which, by the way, Gabby has not been very good in that DH role at all this season. So I don't know if that's something that the Diamondbacks want to keep doing with Gabriel Moreno, but overall his numbers, when you take a look at his splits, have not been very good when you're talking about Gabby batting as a DH. I think right now, Damon, he's hitting 071. He's slashing 071, 235, 071 for a 307 OPS in very small sample size, 17 plate appearances, 5 games, 14 at bats as a DH. But those numbers aren't very encouraging. So again, it's like in baseball, you have these different parts, right? Like Gabriel Moreno might not have been the answer behind the plate because maybe some of the things he was doing was causing his pitchers to not have success. James McCann now seems to be helping out a lot there. So even though you might have blamed the starting pitchers at one point, maybe perhaps it was the game calling behind the plate that was more of the problem. But now you have this problem with Gabby Moreno not being as good offensively because he's not behind the plate catching. So this is baseball. It's a lot of moving parts, and you got to try to figure it all out. I never want to be a manager in baseball, and I would never want to ever be friends with a manager. As much as me and Damon love going over to Torey's house for Sunday dinner, I would never really want to be friends with a baseball manager because I feel like I'd be doing what I do on this show and defending him entirely too much.
That's family. That's not
family.
Friends.
That's not friends. But and then BCSC clarified. He says Jake Woodford is basically Jake McCarthy, and quite frankly, I can't argue with that. Both guys need a mustache, that's for sure. But we do once again appreciate you guys so much for your time. Thank you very much for your super chats. Of course, make sure this month, if you're watching our show or any other show, to drop those donations for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. It means the world to us. It means the world to work together with a wonderful organization like that does so much for our community. And again, that's what so much of this should all be about, is our community, enjoying ourselves, and at least in this case, having a little therapy after watching your team not be able to pull off the big comeback that they came so close to pulling off. But again, we appreciate you guys so much for your time. We dropped our Twitter handles already. We did all of that stuff, but make sure you follow our account at PHNX_Dbacks. Most importantly, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed, all of that stuff. We'll see you guys tomorrow on another post-game show, the last home post-game show potentially of the 2025 season. So be sure to join us for that. Until then, behave yourselves. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you actually get the comeback done and don't fall short.
We all silly like the mayor.